Thank you for tuning in to Andronetalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. Andronetalks.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Andronetalks Radio. We have a special guest here today, someone that I know by the name of Jerome. He also goes by the name of Corporal X, or the Peacekeeper. He is a confirmed Kruger Asset, has been working with Peter for some time, and also has been collaborating, and if not potentially, he is also part of Unit 374. Haven't got quite a confirmation from Peter yet, but that is going to come soon. So before we get started, welcome, Jerome. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Jessica. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, so you've been around for a while, and there's been a lot going on, and have been very involved with many of the missions, which we're going to reveal more so in the future. And I also, I think in order to do this, let's start from the beginning. And you do have a military background. Maybe you can share a little bit of your military history. Presently, you are in Canada.
I'm in
the
Canada.
French region. We'll say the French region of Canada, or maybe not, but originally from that area.
No, I'm born and raised in the Quebec back boonies, like way out in the woods. And I did serve in the Canadian Army as an infantryman in the regiment called Voltigeurs de Québec, but I was mostly detached with the Vandus, they call them, the R22R, which is a known infantry regiment in the armies across the world because we're pretty efficient. And I enrolled at a pretty young age. I was 17 when I took my oath. And shortly after my combat school and all of that, the war in Bosnia, former Yugoslavia started. So I volunteered to go over there to be a peacekeeper, hence the name of the Peacekeeper. So over there was a pretty crazy mission. The places I visited there were insane. People talk about dumps and experimentations on humans and children, but these places were exactly that kind of places, where they were a known hospital, above ground hospital. So part of our mission was to protect those hospitals, and as you can imagine, all kind of stuff happened.
Yeah, you and Peter had some discussions about that. I mean, that being his neck of the woods where he came from, and not completely, but he's very familiar with the area. And here you're from Canada, and you're a completely different culture. How did you end up over there? What was the reason that you got Canada got involved, or is this probably the United States had a presence there as well?
Well, the war in Yugoslavia, they call it the Forgotten War. Basically, that war was an independence war, ethnic cleansing war, because some of the states of former Yugoslavia wanted to have their sovereignty. Macedonia was one, and Bosnia was another one. But Serbia and Croatia didn't want to work this way, and Serbia was really tied with the Russians, and that whole region was always like a box of black powder. It was always volatile, and the war over there was one of the main perpetrator and one that stirred up was a guy named Radovan Karadzic. Sorry for my accent, and he was a psychiatrist. And this guy, he got executed for crime against humanity and war crimes and all of that. So it was insane times in the world. Beginning of the 90s, we had also the wars in Somalia, the wars in Rwanda.
Right.
It was all like crazy civil wars where all of a sudden families, neighbors started to slaughter each other for no apparent reason. It was insane, complete insanity.
And so for you, stepping in there, and you didn't really have the backstory, you didn't really live in that region, and so you go in there, and now and their style of warfare, everything is unpredictable, or maybe unfamiliar to you in the beginning, or I'm sure that they let you know immediately what was going on, but
no, it was not like that at all. It was a like I said at the beginning, highly volatile situation and changing very rapidly as well. So during the time we were training, Canada was already known for its peacekeeping abilities in different missions. So guys that did peacekeeping missions prior were not expecting that at all. But as the training was going on and the departure day was getting near, we started to understand it was going to be like crazy shit, And once we landed there, then there was no debate anymore. It was like complete insanity from the first second all the way to the last, then we were on this land. So, yeah, everybody got caught by surprise because that type of situation and insanity was never seen before in the world, and there were like 3 places going on at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, Somalia and Rwanda was crazy. People were slaughtering each other with machetes.
Were you stationed over there as well? Did they bring you over there?
I didn't go there, but
you talked to people that went there?
Yeah, because special forces guy, they were active, and I had the chance to have a bunch of guys, in working with us because they were having problems with their own units at the time as well. So that was also a problem. All the special forces in Canada, commandos and stuff, the regiment, specializing, they were in complete chaos, the deconstruction and reconstruction, and these guys, they were like piling up missions after missions. So yeah, we were working alongside with them, but that's how they were able to share their experience with us, basically. And it was insanity. And there's a great book for people out there. I'll write you the reference. It's a general, Romeo Dallaire, his name. The title of the book is I've Shaken the Hand of the Devil or something like that. And he's talking about the war he was commanding for United Nations. He was not even in charge of Canada. He was in charge of the whole United Nations forces. And he wrote a book about how powerless and dumbfounded he had to just stand there and witness people getting killed.
Well, and from that region, from the same region that you were in.
From the northern part, Rwanda is northern part of Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some, I call it like high strangeness, in some of these areas. And so when you're going into battle, there's more to it. It's kind of like the Middle East. There are jinn, and jinn are crazy. So they're unpredictable. They're spontaneous. You think you have things together, it looks pretty calm, and then something else happens that you least expect. That's the energy of a jinn. And so you have like very old energies in these different locations. And they're perpetuating these wars, similar to what's happening in Israel right now.
Yeah.
Israel and Palestine, they've been battling for thousands of years. And it's not going to get, they're going to have to be the ones that sort of resolve it or remedy it, but they probably need help with the ETs or species or entities that are there in that space that are perpetuating this. And so until that's neutralized, then it will continue. And I know that they're trying to expand this into like a World War III or total war, as Peter says. And if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, to expand on the first point about the jinns and all those areas are sort of maintained because they're high. They have a bunch of portals there that have been used for evil and nefarious intentions. So of course their portals are important tactically and strategically for the baddies, right? So they maintain them. And yeah, there's a lot of activity there still as we go, and I feel like it's moving around. It's like moving around because evil, it's just like a little bit like us. When we push against evil, evil's gonna push back. So sometimes we have two choices. It's either we go for the kill or we disengage because we're not going to be able to kill. We're going to hurt ourselves more. So we disengage and just, move away and try come from somewhere, some other angles. So I feel like those regions, Middle East, has been this way for thousands and thousands of years. As far as World War III is concerned, well, sorry, but we are in World War IV. World War III was the Cold War, right? And now it's more of a
total war. Peter calls it. He calls it a total war.
Pardon?
He calls it a total war. That's what Peter calls it.
I was gonna get to that with the 5th generation warfare. We don't know who the enemies are, and pretty much every nations on the planet have been infiltrated some way, somehow by Nazis and groups of
bleed-throughs. There's been a lot of bleed-throughs.
Pardon?
Yeah, there's a lot of bleed-throughs. We had a huge bleed-through that came up through the Soviet area. And so from Tarkov, I guess that video game, there's explains a little bit about what happened, but there's bleed-throughs of others that are from other realities or contexts of existences that are here stirring things up. So it makes it's not really across the board that you can evaluate and assess what's happening. You got multiple things, especially from my perspective. I'm seeing multi-dimensionally, and Peter and I are talking about, different things that we're seeing. We have been cataloging all this information from around 2016, trying to assess what in the world's going on. And even, Peter and I get thrown off because I'll see something and then he says, "Oh, we figured out that this group is here." And I start describing what they look like. So I was seeing them. He was, evaluating them. So you have that added to the whole mix of the human conflict, that we're seeing.
You're describing it very well. It's a multi-dimensional conflict, and we were in my background. We stepped away right after my military career was pretty short. It was only 5 years, so I was like 22, 23 when I got off the army. Yeah, I've been asking that question since forever. Where's the world is going, and how is it sustainable with everything I was feeling? Because I do have those psychic ability. I am a confirmed super soldiers and even light soldier. So all my life, since I'm a little boy, I've been dealing with all kind of phenomenon and activations and attacks as well. So and thanks to you and Tino and Peter and all the guys, because talking to you and meeting you in real life was a real eye opener for me, that allowed me to really understand and grasp all those contexts of reality. And I'm still learning, because it's impossible to understand it all, but it's pretty amazing. And going back to the bleedthroughs, there's some coming in, but we also have ways to go out there and
Mm-hmm.
and disturb them. So
Yeah.
In the 5th generation warfare, the total warfare that we are in right now, it's a total warfare, because every countries are invaded, all governments are pretty much non-effective or whatever. We don't know what the heck was going on, and different police forces and agencies seems to be completely rogue and can turn against people at any time. Stories of police shooting, or even police getting attacked by bystanders for no reason. I mean, last week there was a video of a activist that got stabbed in New York City for apparently no reason at all. So we have that energy going on, because coming back to what I was saying, the baddies, they know they lost. They know their corners. They're hurting and bleeding like crazy. So now they're just willing to throw that Hail Mary and swing for the fences, because when they see us come in, they have no doubt in their mind that we're meaning deaths for them. So all the people out there that are facing difficulties and are like, God damn, it's like, you're in it, guys. It's a total warfare. We're all involved in it at some different levels, and we don't have to have a background military. We all live in the same society. We all fight the banks, the phone companies, the landlords, the gas station, the mechanics, all of that. It's people. It's crazy.
Yeah. And well, what was that?
Some of them are not people.
Some of them are not people.
Yeah.
And we were looking at what happened over in France with the Yellow Vest movement. I mean, that was insane. I mean, they were dragging women down the street by their hair. I mean, an elderly woman being hit. It's like, it was shot. Are they human? Like, it wasn't right. And so, yeah, welcome to the new paradigm. Well, it's not going to stay here very long if there's an intervention and so that these things are happening in the background. Like Peter has all these multiple missions that he's going on, and we go along with him in a way that Yeah. So 88 years we were with him. 88 years. That's multiple back and like time travel, here, just crazy stuff that was going on there. So I wanted to see if you want to share any information that Peter has told you or anything that, because I mean, a lot of people know my story. They know my background. They know my early childhood, some encounters, ET encounters, recalls, time travelers that I've interacted with when I was young, other people from the numbers group and so forth. What about you? Do you want to talk a little bit about any of your encounters, experiences in your childhood?
Well, like I said, attacks. So I always been a special kid, and I was always gifted. And some of the information Peter told me. One of the first talk I had with him, he taught me I have the most advanced and updated DNA that it's available to humans on the planet that have been enhanced throughout my lives through ET encounters and probably in the militaries as well from the secret space program.
Yeah.
To give me some, I don't like to talk about that because I like to think of myself as a regular guy, but yeah, I do have like some superpowers. But everybody has those powers. There's just mine are there, and it's really easy for me to access them. So
yeah, we're not bragging about who can do what, but clearly, if you want to be on the front line, I've had people say, well, I don't know why you're any. It's fine. You go out in the front line. I'll stay in the back, and you take care of it. Then, you know what I mean? I mean that's what the enhancements for is for us to be out there protecting, and you guys do it more so than I do. But in other ways, I'm having to deal with a lot because Peter's more in the background, but he deals with other things, and I'm not like saying, oh, sure, you have me take all the peripheral stuff over here. I do. I carry my weight. I carry whatever it is that I need to. And Peter does what he needs to do. And all the soldiers are very gifted and very well able to have specific abilities that enable them to go off and do these type of missions because it's not for everyone. And I know some people say, "Oh, I can do it," but when it gets a little hot and heated, they're turning, they're complaining, they're running off and going with someone else and helping someone else instead of or helping themselves. Some people use their gifts to just make themselves wealthy or something like that. There's no ego here. So you can just share whatever you want, and whether the DNA enhancement or what have you.
Yeah, you bring interesting topics there. In the military and whatever we can call it and use the analogy we want on a ship because planet Earth is a spaceship and we all own the same ship. So we all have roles in that ship. Some people have security roles, some people have defensive roles, offensive roles, some people have spy roles, some people have healing roles, some people have feeding roles, growing food. It takes a whole lot of support to have boneheads like me and Xanders and others to be out there and taking the real slings and arrows from the real bad guys and having them face to face. It takes a whole lot of people behind us before, during, and after every missions, because we get hit, we get back from there, and we're in pretty bad shape. Pretty bad shape. It takes enhancements and it takes support to keep the machine going. And I gotta tell you, past 3 years, but yeah, 3 years were really intense. But it really started in 2012 when I really started getting really activated, and since 2018 it's accelerating. And yeah, 2020, 2021 up to now was crazy insane. And it's gonna be like that for quite some time again. But I don't believe the fear monger that are talking about total warfare and total destruction. I don't see that timeline happen because I'm working really hard for it to happen, and I'm not the only one. Yeah. So it's gonna get shaky. People need to wake up and understand. So it's gonna be scary, but I don't think it's gonna be anything really detrimental for the planet or the human or the animals, because we've been suffering enough. But with every war, there's always casualties and how do you say that? Side effects, whatever. So it's gonna happen, but trying to minimize everything.
Right. Yeah. Because if they have a way, if no one gives them any resistance, it will be like severely apocalyptic. Peter's gone into the future, into different future realities, and they look pretty bad. I mean, he's had to be underground in most of them.
Oh yeah.
You know, can't be exposed to the upper, to the ground level where the atmosphere is really messed up, and there's it's very toxic, or you could die within hours or less, from the effects of it. So the annihilation of what they have done, that progressing into the future unattended to or without any disruption of someone trying to block them, they literally rip everything apart.
Oh yeah.
And it's insane. It's insane what they do.
It is. But again, see that's one thing we do. We go in those timelines and we go and retrieve and sabotage the things they got from us that allow them to create those timelines, and we shut them down completely. So as we go along, we shut more timelines and more and more and more. So there's less and less possibilities for them, and the good timelines are opening up because the people are waking up and they're starting to have more positive intentions and reminding themselves, catching themselves up when they go in that fear mode, and that that kind of talk and mindset was not widely spoke about 3 years ago. You looked like a spook when you spoke like that. Now it's like in every conversation almost.
You're right. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly how I feel. And if you were to set up like timelines and then say a central point, so where Peter's looking at the ones to the left, say the ones that are just annihilated in various different ways. One he calls like a metro reality after the game, or Escape from Tarkov, which is another one where there's all these bleedthroughs and wars. I also talked about the Fallout reality where it's completely nuclear and people are living in these kind of I don't know, bunkers and so forth. So you have like a variety of different types of scenarios of what could go wrong, and they're all to the left, and Peter's observing and looking at them, and then I don't know, he's very resilient. He comes back, he sounds like he's about to die, you know what I mean? And not really, but I mean just really you could see that he's struggling, and then he knows how to heal himself. He knows how to recover from some of this, and also he can be very enhanced as well, and him and his wife, and the merge and some others and then of course we're going with them as well. Now, since you've been with us, you've been coming with us as well on some of these missions, and so it can be a little crazy. It can be crazy. So then the dreams, I don't know how you are with dreams, but I've had some crazy dreams, especially like in the past couple months.
Yeah,
like really crazy.
I think I'm gonna get a trademark on the term tactical sleep. I kind of know when I'm gonna have tough sleep, so sometimes I avoid it. So I just sleep that crooked hours to not get into the tough battles and avoid some of the stuff happening. But yeah, sometimes it's unavoidable because the call for the mission is there, and it's important to go. And yeah, we were speaking about roles earlier. I wouldn't want Peter's role. I mean, I have so much respect for the man. It's unbelievable, and I don't know. I don't know. It's just like, wow, everything he's been through in his military career, and whatever he does in the agencies he's working with, and all the realm of realities he has to go to. And it's always an honor and pleasure to be called on missions with him. And it's a bigger honor when I have the chance to speak with him on the phone or text him. You know, it's I feel like really honored to be part of this gentleman team and have his respect and confidence.
Yeah, I agree. And I've known Peter for a very long time, and sometimes he gets like, people were like, oh, he doesn't let you talk or whatever. I'm like, he's trying to get all his information out. I don't get offended. I hope people don't get offended watching it or don't get triggered. But I do have a lot of respect for him because, just imagine you're the one that is going out there. You're the first one to be in a space. I mean, just time travel alone, to think about it. You are suddenly in another reality. They always show these guys, right, that they go to this other reality and the clothes don't go with them, right? So they're naked. They got to find clothes. They have to figure out where they're at. They have to figure out how to hide. They have to not look like they're crazy so they don't get locked up somewhere. And then they have to try to figure out like the time period, if they're in the right time period, the right location. When they jump, they have to make sure that they're jumping in the right place, or like 200 years in the future or in the past, that there isn't like some ocean there, or there isn't a building there or something that they could hurt them when they're traveling back. So that there's a lot of different pieces to this, right? So imagine now you're going into a new frontier, right? You have absolutely no reference point. There's no reference point. You don't know what it is. You can be jumping right into a volcano or right into like a nuclear blast, or like, how do you know exactly? So there is levels of collaboration. I know that Peter looks at, he's been to 2077 because he talks about cyberpunk. This it's just the stuff that he discloses to us. Think about it. If he goes there, then he can trace back everything that happened historically, and then they kind of get an assessment. But now he's going into other contexts of existences, which are not plotted. They're not mapped.
And how do you're talking about not look like crazies in other contexts of realities or other timelines, other eras, right? How do you put words into that so people in 2023 in this context of reality is able to grasp and wrap their head around all that crazy stuff? And Peter is amazing in the way that he's making sense of all of it when you listen to him. And sometimes it takes a little work on yourself because you just can't just like listen to it. You have to understand the language and apply it to your own experience. Then you're able to connect the dots of your own missions and see where you stand in this whole dance.
Well, like, sometimes I'm pretty sure, like say for example, in the future, they say that we evolve in a way that our eyes get really large, right? Because there's less light, or because people live underground. Immediately you show up there, right? You look like this. And they know immediately that you're not from there. So that stands out. So a situation you go in, there's another species or another hybridization of humans in one of the realities he goes to. He steps into that reality, and immediately there's gunfire, or a weapon fire. We'll say it like that because it's not like typical guns. What they're using, and sometimes since I've known him, he's gotten shot at some of the weirdest equipment that I've ever heard of. That's people don't even know about it, and lasers, and that he just describes things that the typical person wouldn't even know how to use. But it's like that advanced, very, very advanced tech. So boots on the ground, immediately you jump, you're barely recovering, and you're already getting attacked.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you survive that over and over and over again?
It takes a special kind of guys, and then when we come back, we get our mind wiped, and then we go again, and clones, right? The clones, and I mean, yeah, it's very tough. It's very rewarding. It's the life of a super soldier. It's just like being a soldier, but a super soldier. I don't know. It's like it's nonstop. It never stops. Never stops. And sometimes you're just like trying to get some R&R, and you get a call or you get an attack, a surprise attack, because you got tracked by something, or you got implanted somehow. So you gotta deal with it.
That fast.
Pardon?
It happens that fast. It happens exactly like that. It's that spontaneous. I was working with a client, even like people, not all the soldiers are out, not all are public. And there is one that I know, and he went and did something. And before you know it, he was in a car accident, which didn't make any sense to him. He was driving down the street. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, this person is really close that wasn't there before. So he was taken out twice in that short period of time, before and then after the accident. And then, when we talked, he says he felt like he was out of his body. He was all messed up. And so the car accident is a reflection of something else that was happening elsewhere. So say if he was gone for 20 years or so. And I don't know how they do this, but and I'm not saying that this is the secret space program. It can be corporations, which I believe it was more of the corporations taking assets and then using them for something else. But, while us with Peter, I think we're protected from a lot of that, but or with the ACIO. But I do know people that are not as protected, and then they get in those situations, and it's like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah. And I mean, awareness is a big protection. But if I may share an experience, not long ago, I was in the city, and a bus came at me like from the corner, but the bus wasn't there. I was sort of distracted, and it's always like that, they sort of lose your mind, and you're not like all there. You're distracted, and then you're sort of not consciously moving, and that bus just like turned a corner like so fast, but I should have got hit, but it stopped just as fast as it came, and I was about 3 feet from the bus driver, and I just like waved at him, and it was like, and it's almost like I came out of nowhere to him. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes, I do.
It was in the same state of mind I was, so sort of distracted, and he checked, I wasn't there, and all of a sudden, boom, we were face to face.
Sometimes it's like almost like a time anomaly, like you were traveling or you were doing something, and then you realize you're grounded, and you're like, what happened? That used to happen to me a lot as a kid. I'd be in like this other like space, and my family didn't know what to think of me because you know what I mean? You kind of get off in this other, but it can be very dangerous. And I remember when I was really young, I started driving the car, and I suddenly had an awareness who's driving the car. I literally said that to myself. That's how far out I'd step out of the body. And I had to learn to pull myself into the body really strong because I would go off like that. That's how I understand when people go through that. And it's because you're being taken. You're going through, or not just taken, but you're going into maybe military mode or something. And maybe that guy that was driving was also there too. And the two of you, kind of recognize each other in something, you both had control, but it could have ended up really bad.
It could have ended up really, really bad. And a lot of us had those experiences. Well, like you do something in missions and you just like blow up on something, and just like right before you go like, oh shit, it's like it's like a clock stopping and everything just like freezes and you get
slow motion.
Way.
Yeah.
And they do stuff on us, like repair us prior, and then we wake up like 10 feet away from where we were. Or I got hit by a car. I was the passenger, and the car hit the door, but somehow never hit me. It kind of, all the car was bended, but my feet it didn't hit me, untouched, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
The car got deflected somehow and never got to me. So
that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. That it hits the car, bends the car, but other than that you had like a shield or something that protected you.
Yeah, it's like time stopped and they just like moved the car just a little bit, so the intended hit just like missed the target. So I was fine. But
Peter said that when on that mission that we were on, he says we were disintegrating. He said we were disintegrating, so when people were shooting at us, it was going right through us. I talk about crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that mission was like, how was that set up? It was like now, and we went on for a long time and we came back to now, or it's a mission that's been ongoing and kind of stopping and we go through others and come back to it? How is that?
He's going to talk to us more about it in an upcoming interview, but technically he said we were finished with it, but we were gone literally for 88 years.
Can't wait to hear more from him.
Yeah.
What we did there exactly. Kind of have an idea, but yeah.
I know. I think it was a bunch of stuff, and so but yeah,
well, I can't give you my feelings. It was about liberating souls, children, and deactivating some devices.
Yeah, and corporations and things that we had to like resolve. Yeah.
Yeah, some of these corporations, they've been bad. They've been bad, and like Murkoff, Murkoff have a real strong presence in the Eastern Europe part. Bosnia and the hospital. I do believe they were under Murkoff control, and they were a Murkoff experiment going on in there.
Is that what Peter told you?
No, that's coming from my talk with Taino.
Yeah, because they are stationed in Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were over there as well. But that's a confirmation from Peter maybe. But what are some of the things that Peter had shared with you, if you want to share about, some of your personal stuff that he said?
Well, we don't have time to share much because we connect more on our human experience. It seems like, I'm a father, he's a father. I've been going through difficulties, and we have men-to-men talk, soldier talk,
Yeah.
not seeing your
So
children for a while, not knowing what they're doing, missing calls, missing schools, missing important stuff for missions and stuff like that. So we connect on that level. But our last talk, no, I cannot really talk about that. But yeah, that's really, he's really helping me adjusting yet to be a human. Because in my person, let's put it this way, in my I don't know, it's hard to explain.
I understand.
They captured me, right? They captured my soul and my spirit.
Who did? Do you know? Like, because Murkoff, gave me a hard time as a child. So, which group gave you a hard time?
It's Murkoff. It's Murkoff. It's because we disturb their activities. I disturb and we disturb their activities a lot. I cost them a lot of money. So they don't really like me. So they capture me. They capture me for about 10 years. So I was not even human anymore. But
they started to do like enhancements and experiments on you.
No, I was really captive, and they were trying to just have me giving up, eliminate me. But they have a problem, and they know it. When they kill us, we're not in our physical body anymore, so we're just much more powerful. So they had to keep me in this body. So they deactivated me through medications and psychiatrists and events, live events and stuff like that. So I was not effective.
They throw off your time. They affect your timeline.
Yeah, they try to push us to suicide, basically, because if we suicide ourselves, then we broke the rule and our spirit doesn't get to be powerful.
Yeah. Well, he's a master of psychological torture.
They are.
And
they are.
And physical torture. Yeah.
So I've been enduring a lot of torture, and I had implants that I had to remove, and through meditations, and I did visit some shamans that are helping me, some Reiki workers, energy work, to burn off those implants, remove them, chase them in different timelines as well. So I had to do that work to free myself and be able to be effective for those missions, because those are critical times. So that was like a very tough 10 years. Well, coming back from Bosnia, I mean, I knew right there and then that I was in trouble, and I had like very tough conversation with God, in the sense like, what the heck you doing, man? You're supposed to be all powerful and all wisdom, and you let this shit happen. So he's like, yeah. I need everybody. I can't do it all by myself. So
no, it's not easy. I mean, when you get attacked on that level,
him and I had a little deal, and that's pretty much when I broke free from religion. But again, understanding all the messages and the lesson takes a long time. Stepping away from religions doesn't mean you don't believe in God at all. It means you're free to express your own spirituality and be yourself with your master creator. You don't have to do big ceremonies to have a talk to your best friend, your guide, everything there is, and there would be in everything that ever been. You just show up and be like, hey man, you got anything for me? Or hey, I got this for you. It's a give and take relationship, and it goes both ways like any relationship in your life. So since I'm able to have that relationship with them, with God, him, her, whatever.
I do too, because throughout all of it, you have to believe in this higher power, because a lot of everything that's going on around you, especially at the time where it's pivotal and you're really feeling attacked, or especially when I was younger. I mean, I went through all these different religions and try to sort it out, and all the Christian belief systems, and I've researched, all the additional fringe religions, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, and the all of this, and then Scientology. I even visited. I was like, what is this all about? And I started talking about remembering being amongst angels and everything, and about 10 years later, they're still contacting me, or actually longer than maybe 15 years, I still get messages because they wanted to know what I knew or what I remembered. And it's crazy stuff. But it's a system, and I don't feel like I want to be a part of a system, but that doesn't mean that the universe isn't amazing, and the God source is amazing. And so I just felt like I didn't need the constructs of humans. Yeah.
No, not at all. And all those systems, they're all artificial systems. So, and it seems like to get in the system, you have to leave your soul or your heart or your mind at the door, and play along with those systems, whatever systems it might be. But when you connect with the almighty system, nature, everything flows. Everything comes easier. I mean, there are some storms, there are some hardships, there's some whatever challenges. But when you believe that you're supported, guided by higher powers, and you're able to tap in your ancestors and guide and ascended masters and all of that, solution comes. And this is pretty much how humanity and the whole universe is evolving, through experiencing, sharing, gathering, trying, pushing the limits, right? And going back to the lab or the drawing boards, tearing everything apart and starting from scratch again, right?
Yeah. Amidst all of the difficulties, you're tethered to the divine. You have this, no matter what, that you're in this place, that you're going to be okay regardless. And which also then helps you to become more fearless about what you're doing and what your role is and what your agreements were here and what you are to do. And so that's what I like about with 374, with some of the Kruger people, and there's other teams too, I believe, that I'm learning about. There's the ones that are really doing the work. There's not a huge amount of ego. It's just we're just here to do what we need to do, and we've been harmonious. We've been very, very harmonious in the what's going on, and there's a lot of personal respect, because if you see what the others doing, then you know that they're here for the work, and there are a lot of people that are supporting us in the background, that listen, they wait for messages, they add their intentions to it, and they are part of the mission. They're in it. They're the unsung heroes. They're the soldiers in the background, and I appreciate them as well, because Part of going public is what's helping people to awaken to what's going on. And Peter has been, painstakingly putting out this information through, at risk of people, mocking him or thinking it's ridiculous or, and then it would actually happen, unlike some groups that say, oh, this is going to happen, and then it never happens, and they get more respect than we've had, but it's not even about getting respect at this point. We just really honestly want to see that things go well and the best for humanity, best for our reality. And so that's why I think, I brought you in because I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you're doing. And I was really happy to hear about our missions together, that they went well. And not that we're all retiring right away, but, I think we're in a good place for a while, even though the world looks like it's, all over. But
compared to where we were 18 months ago, 24 months ago, we're in a much better place. There's still a lot of work to do, for sure. But I mean, to all the people in the backgrounds that are not participating actively, I think it's a misconception, because I feel a lot of love from people everywhere I go, and love is I'm gonna quote one of my son there: love heals everything. So when people hold that vibration and that intention, that loving intention for humanity, for their children, for their cities, us, whoever, they are putting out the best medicine there is out there. So it is a tremendous, tremendous win for everybody personally, but for the whole collective, when we catch ourselves going into fear mode, anger, revenge, vindications, that type of stuff, or blames, oh, no one's doing shit, I'm out there alone, rah, rah, rah. Well, get back to love. Get back to the love vibration, Take a deep breath, observe, find something nice, compliment yourself, pat yourself on the back, whatever you need to do to step out of the fear and anger energies and love, because that's how we're going to get out of there. That's because when we feel love, we're able to have compassion for the other, but we love ourselves enough so we are able to draw a line in the sand and say, no, thank you for that energy. I don't want that. I don't need it. I don't want it. But if you want to bring other kind of energy, I'm willing to listen. Energy is a currency.
Mm-hmm.
So
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah.
So that's how we're gonna get out of that things. I mean, I hear on channels, military this, military that, or other channels, oh, I don't want to talk about this because it's negative. It's gonna ruin my vibe. Well, it's all bullshit, We're all responsible for our own butt, and we all responsible for the situation we are in right now. It's not Biden's fault. Yes. It's not Putin's fault. It's not the Hamas fault or Obama's fault or the election fraud's fault or whatever fault they try to bring. It's not our fault either. It's not about fault. It's not about ego either. It's about accountability and love. Do you love your country? Do you love your children? Do you love nature? Do you love your dog? Do you love your car? What do you love? You know? And
Yeah.
how do you intend to work to love more? That's how we're going to get out there. And that's how all those negative timelines, they're going to get all shut down. And we're going to move on into the Earth 2.0 or whatever they call it.
Yeah. I think we have unfortunately brought us all to this place. All of us were contributors to it, as you said, and so we're going to all do it together in the right direction.
We're all in the same boat. And
but we learned something out of this, didn't we? We learned a lot.
Every day is a learning experience. The good is a learning experience. The bad is a learning experience. And sadly, it's kind of human nature. When everything is good, when we win, we're like, yeah, we win. It's like trying to find one lesson in the win. It's hard. But when we lose and we're humble enough to sit down and assess the situation, well, we find 10, 15 reasons why we didn't win that time. So it's a matter of everybody is responsible for their own asses and decisions. So why are you losing in life? Where can you improve? Where can you win tomorrow or tonight or whatever, you know? And sometimes you're going to lose, sometimes you're going to win. But when you add up the bottom line, you win more than you lose.
Yeah. So we're on this journey right now together, all of us, and we're archiving it, we're discussing it, and we're finding all the different players in it and the different experiences, and we're going to see what happens. It's
amazing. We go through all, I don't know about you, but I mean, in a day, I can't go through all the emotions there is.
No. And unfortunately, we don't need to. So we're just going to take one step at a time. And I just want to say I'm glad that I was able to introduce everyone to you on my channel, and so that they get to know who the people are, some of the people in the background that haven't been in the forefront. We have another video that we're going to share with that the Corporal X did, or the Peacekeeper did, on Taino's show, Galactic Talk, and so that you can listen to a previous interview that was done. And Taino always does like an amazing job with his shows and interviews. So don't forget to listen to that. And then
that's a pretty good show. If I may interrupt just a second, Jessica, it was a pretty good show where I go a little deeper in the paranormal experience and what I've been through in Bosnia and my background and everything. Today we sort of kept it on more the current event and the crazy mission we just got out of with Peter. But yeah, that show is pretty cool with Taino. So I invite your viewers to go check it out.
Yeah, and I wanted everyone to know who you were, so when we do get together as a group with Peter, people have an understanding and a background. So this was perfect. It worked out really well. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you so much, Corporal X, for being here and your contribution, your insights, and looking forward to more conversations in the future.
You too. Thank you, Jessica, for having me. Thank you, everybody, for listening and getting involved as much as you can at your own levels. And much love to all of you. And like I said, all love, zero fear.
Great. Everyone, thank you. Have a good day. Thank you for your support. Be strong, be well, no fear. And until next time, have a good day.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Arael Morocco and visit her website at www.readingsbyarael.com.